Hi, everybody. I'm Rob from Rewind Video.
And I am Bob, also from Rewind Video.
We're here today with a mini episode to talk about the new entry in the Bad Boys franchise, Bad Boys Ride or Die.
Ride or Die, yeah.
Bob, I wanted to ask you, how much of a fan are you of this franchise?
Well, I know our listeners are going to judge me, Rob, because this is my first foray into the Bad Boys franchise. I've been aware of it. I know it exists. It's out there. But for some reason, I just haven't seen any of these movies.
This won't be the first time they've judged you.
I don't know. It probably won't. In fact, I'll probably get a little bit more forgiveness, leniency for this than I have for some of my other questionable decisions.
This is one of those franchises that I've definitely, for years, I had seen these movies many times, over and over again, but it's not like something I don't know. The mythology's never, really stuck because I don't think it really matters that much.
Yeah, it's hard for me to speak to the rest of the franchise, but I think based on what I saw in this fourth entry, it's hard to disagree with you. It doesn't seem like there's something legendary about this team of detectives, cops. They're
it's like the Fast and Furious franchise in a sense where it's like there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of backstory, family stuff, friendship stuff. But if you don't know it, it kind of doesn't matter. You know it's there.
Yeah. Well, you're touching on something that I know we talked a little bit about coming out of this, which is I felt like there's more family vibes here than we ever get. In authentic family vibes from the Fast and Furious.
You think it's lip service in the Fast and Furious franchise.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always especially in the last handful of movies, it's just like they just kind of mention it. There's always a scene where they're like, well, you're family now.
Right.
And they never really explain what that means.
No, they don't.
I guess in the Bad Boys movies, it actually is real family. There's families involved.
There's real families, and I feel like there's a brotherly love between Martin Lawrence and Will Smith that I'm sure is the culmination of many adventures and what we see happen in the previous movies, but where we're at now, these guys are thick as thieves.
They've always been.
Yeah.
Going back to the first one, but they have a great chemistry. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to Will Smith and Martin Lawrence having a great chemistry.
Yep.
The first movie famously was initially going to be made with Jon Lovitz and Dana Carvey.
Yes.
And in that first movie, the DNA of it being a Jon Lovitz and Dana Carvey movie is there.
Yeah.
There's most of the movie is taken up with this quote unquote subplot of Martin Lawrence having to pretend to be Will Smith's character, which is like a ridiculous thing. Like it's a ridiculous sitcom plot.
Yeah.
But also you realize that Will Smith and Martin Lawrence were two sitcom actors when this movie came out.
Yes, they were.
Will Smith was not a movie star when this movie. He had been in some stuff. This is his first movie star part.
Yeah.
But those comedy beats or comedy bits have continued throughout the franchise.
Right, and I think, but I'm going out on a limb here when it comes to the other movies, but at least in the fourth one, it definitely feels like the comedy that's written into this is more true to Martin Lawrence and Will Smith than two other guys who could have played these parts. It feels authentic to them.
Yes, I mean they've been developing this, rapport for decades at this point.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of this new one overall?
I thought it was fun. I had a good time. Yeah, I can understand why this is doing well. I'm a little surprised by how well it's doing, but again, maybe most of America has a deeper connection to this franchise than I do. But yeah, I had a good time. It's a very serviceable action film and a buddy cop comedy. There's some funny stuff going on, and the chemistry is real. Chemistry is a hard thing to pull off, but it's here.
People love Will Smith.
They do.
I mean, he's just one of those guys. He can still bring people in.
Yeah.
Not for everything, but for a Bad Boys movie for sure. I'm more of a Martin Lawrence guy.
Yeah.
I like his character. I think he's super funny in these movies.
I do too. Well, I thought he was funny here. I mentioned to you separate from this discussion that I did have a chance to at least start Bad Boys 2. So I got a taste of Martin Lawrence in at least one other film. I did feel like maybe it's just where he's at in his life in 2024. There's something a little off kilter about Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
And it does not seem like it's his character. It seems like Martin Lawrence, the person, is, I don't know.
Are you worried?
I'm a little bit worried.
I mean, he's had some issues, I think. I think he's
yeah.
like been in and out of hospitals for this and that or something. But I don't know. Like, he's also, I mean, he's a comedian.
Yeah.
You know, he's not Arnold Schwarzenegger here, man. I mean,
no, for sure.
So yeah, I think I agree with you. I think this gives you all like the Bad Boys things. You get like the cool shots of Miami, the fast cars, the big action set pieces. This is very much in the Michael Bay category of like over bloated movies.
Yeah,
it's just like there's a little bit too much going on here. It doesn't need to be as long as it is. Probably. I was never bored.
No, I was never bored. In fact, I was more entertained during this than I was during Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which we had recently covered. This kept my attention, and I was in it to the end.
That's a movie you didn't like.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Famously gave it 2 stars. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not a man of the people. The people loved it.
Yeah.
Actually, that brings me to the next topic of conversation. We're gonna like try a little something different. Try to do a different kind of rating. We're gonna see how it works. We're gonna start it out. We're gonna give it a popcorn rating because these are not necessarily like 5-star ratings that we want to give. We want to give you an idea of like, do you want to go out and see this in the theater?
Yeah.
So I was thinking between 0 and 2, or maybe we can do 1 to 3 popcorns. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, 1 to 3 popcorns is good.
You want to do 1 to 3?
Yeah, let's do 1 to 3.
Okay, 1 to 3. So like 1 is like, no.
Yeah.
2 would be, yeah, see it, but like you don't have to necessarily go out to the theater and, spend money on it. Or like 1, 2, and 3. So then 3 would be like, definitely go out and go to the theater.
Yeah.
So where are you putting this? We're working on it as we go.
Yeah, we are. So, I'm inclined to give this 3 popcorns, but not for the reason you might expect. I think that this deserves a trip out to the theater to see it while it's playing. Don't wait, because I think that this movie is going to is a great appetizer for what's to come this summer.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking about it more in the context of summer movie season and what we have on the horizon. And yeah, Bad Boys does a great job of preparing us for the very near future. So 3 popcorns for me.
So you think like, yes, go see it for sure, kind of because this is the kickoff to the summer movie season.
Yes.
And we have Quiet Place Part 3 coming out.
We have
day 1.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. We got Twisters,
which is going to be the hit of the summer. I'm calling it. That movie's going to be fucking great.
Yeah.
So you're saying just like old school, this kicks off the summer movie season. Go out and see it.
Yes. I think that's a reason to go.
I'm with you on that.
Okay.
I'll give it 2. We're doing 1, 2, and 3. I'll give it 3 popcorns.
Okay.
Just because, like, yeah. I'm not saying this is a perfect movie. I think, like, I think it's a movie that like you should definitely go out and go see in the theater.
So, I got to ask you a question because this is an interesting franchise in the fact that it's been running for a long time. I mean, I don't know when the original Bad Boys was released. I want to say it was mid-95. Yeah. So we are 30 years into the world of the Bad Boys.
The Bad Boys-averse.
We only have 4 movies. And it does feel like, based on how this movie has performed and even the way this movie is written, that there is a future for this franchise and perhaps a need to pass the torch.
Yes.
And so I think we get a little bit of that. I'm curious if you think, the roles of the sons of Martin Lawrence and Will Smith are fairly prominent here.
A little bit. I think they realize though that you need Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Without them, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And these movies, you can't just be like, it's Bad Boys, The Next Generation. It's just it's not going to work. The reason these movies work is because of those two guys.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have some like supporting characters. That's what Fast and Furious has been doing so well for generations now, where they just like Vin Diesel's always there. They always have like as many of like the main crew as they can, and they add a couple people here and there. They add new characters, probably too many. And that's how they keep it fresh. But like, you can't get rid of the two main guys and still call it a Bad Boys movie, because that's not what people don't want that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think you add some new blood to keep it going.
Yeah.
But you have to keep that. You have to keep those guys in it. You can't just bring in a new crew.
Yeah, I agree. I can't envision a future where Will Smith and Martin Lawrence aren't connected to this in some capacity.
Plus, Will Smith's career has gone in a way that, like, for a while he didn't have to do Bad Boys movies. Now this is his like number one, meal ticket.
Yeah, I think he needs this franchise more than he ever has.
Yes.
And it's clear that America is ready to forgive the slap heard around the world and go back to the theater and see him, which is fine. This is something he knows, and he does it well. So yeah, I was a fan of this. I do have to call attention to just one plot point, and we discussed this in the car on the way home. And it's the fact that, the sons are very much a big part of this movie. And we get a great scene with Reggie, Martin Lawrence's son, which feels plucked right from the John Wick franchise. But with Armando, Will Smith's son, who has been welcomed back into the fold and feels like these guys are ready to embrace him again. And then near the end, they have to infiltrate an alligator zoo, and everyone is like, we're gonna fly in, we're gonna drive in. Armando, thank you for coming back. We need you to swim in amongst the alligators, which I couldn't help but laugh at in the moment, but it works.
It was a little silly. Probably a little silly, but like that's part of the fun of the first big hit of the summer.
These are silly movies, and while I only saw a little bit of Bad Boys 2, I'm going to go back and finish it. The action sequences when Michael Bay is behind the camera, definitely bigger, more bombastic, truly Michael Bay, but the directors here do a good job of not necessarily emulating Michael Bay, but doing their own thing, and it works.
It's definitely in the Michael Bay style. I mean, this is a Jerry Bruckheimer movie.
Yeah.
So it's definitely in the Michael Bay style. But yeah, they give it their own modern twists.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap on our thoughts.
I think so.
About Bad Boys, Ride or Die.
3 popcorns from each of us.
3 popcorns from each of us. If you are going out to the movies, go see this one. It's a good one. Go out and spend the money, buy the popcorn.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Your money will not be wasted.
It's a good time. So be sure to check out our regular episodes every other Thursday and follow us at rewindvideopod.com. And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.